Hey everyone, how are you guys doing? And thank you for tuning in once again to Real News Talk Show. Today, my show is about the judge, Tammy Kemp, who was the judge in the Amber Guyger's trial. I found out today, well, actually yesterday, but I just read a little bit up on it today, that the Freedom of Religion Foundation filed a complaint on Judge Tammy Kemp. The reason they say they did was because they say that she had stepped over her boundaries when she gave Amber Guyger, the murderer, a Bible after her sentencing of 10 years for killing Botham Jean in his own apartment when he was sitting in his apartment eating ice cream. The Freedom of Religion Foundation includes President Reagan's son. He sits on the board, Ron Reagan Jr. Wow, he sits on the honorary board. And so they filed that complaint on Thursday. They're saying she stepped over her boundaries because of the fact that she was giving her a Bible, and she was saying, telling her, some verses to say, and so they asked for her to be investigated for a violation of her actions in court after the sentencing of Amber Guyger, that 10 years they had given her. They said that she said, "You haven't done as much as you think you have, and you can be forgiven." My breakdown on that is that you have done more than anyone could think that someone could do when you go in someone's house and you kill them while they're sitting on their couch, looking at TV, chilling out, watching TV or a game, and eating ice cream, relaxing, because I heard he was a very hardworking man. He had a high position job, and he probably was just unwinding from a hard day's work. Amber Guyger walked in his house, stood on his red mat, the color of this, and said she didn't see it. A blind person could probably almost see this. What juror or what judge or whatever, who could think that Amber Guyger didn't see this red? Unless she was crazy. And the boyfriend testified, the married man that she was screwing around with the kids, he testified that she was in her right mind. So why, if he said that she was in her right mind when he was talking to her, what would make the jurors and everybody else think that she wasn't, to not see this bright red mat in front of the door? So it was something more to all of that story, because I just still don't buy it. But you haven't done as much as you think you have. That's a cold blow. Anytime you take a life off of this heaven and earth that God created, you've done more than anybody could think that somebody could do. That's a good person. You haven't done as much as you think you have, and you can be forgiven. The can be forgiven part, that I buy, because I have God also, and He can forgive you. But it's not my job it's my job to pray for that person. I don't have to tell them. I can do it in secret. God will hear you, and He will work faster and better when you do it in silence. God is a silent God. All of a sudden things happen, miracles happen, and people wonder how. It's because it was silent. It wasn't like you had to go tell nobody, because that person has to pray for themselves. That's one thing every child pretty much was taught by a real family growing up. My mother say, you can have people to pray for you all day long, but if you don't get it for yourself, you don't have nothing. So with all of this, you haven't done as much as you think you have, and you could be forgiven. We all know that you can be forgiven. That part, the you can be forgiven part, that judge was right on that. But you haven't done as much as you think you have, that wasn't right, because she thinking now that it's okay for what she had done, just by those words alone. You haven't done as much as you. When you kill somebody, you haven't done as much as you think you have. You've done more than a notion. You've taken away someone's child away from this planet and earth, that God created that seed. God made that child. And that wasn't for Amber Guyger to go in his house while he was sitting on the couch eating ice cream to kill. So that part I didn't buy. The forgiving part, I buy. the forgiven part, that God will forgive you, but it's not for me to make you. I can tell you to pray, but for me to, just try to drill you and tell you what to do, I don't care if I could say it all day long to you. But if you don't have it in your heart to pray for yourself, it's still not gonna. So those words mean nothing until a person get it in their own heart, which she didn't have a heart because she wouldn't have done it. Look, standing on a red mat that's bright. She wouldn't have done it, period. Because if that was my son, the judge's son, the juror's son, anybody else's son, and we know that there was a big red mat and nobody else had one, and then all the bad things that Amber Guyger had done, including not reporting to the police department, failing the polygraph and all this stuff, I don't buy that. I know that he will forgive her. And she said, now I'm reading this from what I read online. You did something bad in one moment in time. No, she did something bad in many moments in time, when she was messing with that married man and possibly going to break up his family. And she was texting him, sending him text, sex messaging, and all those racist remarks she did. That wasn't in a one moment in time. She's been a bad girl in more moments than an ocean. I even read online she had shot somebody in the stomach last year. And after she had tasered him. Even though the guy I think he had taken her weapon, but she got the weapon back from what I was reading. And when she got it back, she tasered him. I thought if you taser somebody and you have the gun in your possession, you can handcuff them. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if you have a gun in your hand and they are down with the taser, if you have to shoot them. If you do, you could shoot them in the leg, the foot, or anything and handcuff them. But she shot him in the stomach, but that guy, he lived, from what I read online. So, you did something bad in one moment in time. I don't buy that either. She's been bad. When she was talking about Martin Luther King being dead, somebody relating to her with a racist dog, everything was racist. If I were black, I'm gonna wear it to your funeral if you mess with me, and I shoot to kill, and all of the racist stuff, and about the black cops riding with them. She was bad. She was bad. She was a bad girl. It wasn't in no one moment in time that you did something bad. Amber Guyger did something bad in many moments in time. So that one I don't buy. And then when I heard juror number 21 say Bo would not want her to take a harsh sentence. How in the hell do anyone know what Bo wants? Bo is dead and gone. Bo would want her to pay for killing him. Wouldn't you want somebody to pay for killing you, and your folks would want somebody to pay for killing you? And I felt like if they did not, the family didn't want, even when that little boy got up there, if that family didn't want her to pay, why were they there? For justice. It speaks for itself. They came all the way from St. Lucia. So all of that was BS too, because for him to say, I don't want you to go to jail, but yet him and the whole family are there for her to go to jail and get her time. Did they think she was going to walk away? I think Amber Guyger thought she was going to walk away, which she pretty much did. 10 years was not enough for all of that negative stuff Amber Guyger did against those black jurors and the black people, the racist remarks, and for her to say Bo would not want her to take a harsh sentence. Nobody knows what the hell Bo wanted. Bo is dead and gone, and nobody stood up for justice for him. Period. Because everybody stroked Amber Guyger and just threw Bo to the wayside. It's not right. So Bo, of course, I do, the juror 21, when she said he would forgive her, he probably would forgive her if he was living and she didn't kill him. I mean, you can forgive people all the time, but if you're dead, you can't, because they're gone. And that's where the system of the court system is supposed to stand up for the victim and not the murderer. So yeah, I didn't buy it. And so I don't know if the Freedom of Religion Foundation felt like the majority of the people that I've talked to out here about that situation. And as I said, I know sometimes people have hearts and they have God so deep and they can't see the forest for the trees, but in a realistic situation such as that, with all of the red flags and everything there to accommodate that girl getting her sentence, otherwise they wouldn't have said guilty of murder. You're going to come with guilty of murder, and then you're going to come back and say, you haven't done as much as you think you have, that you're guilty of murder. You've done more than I could think anybody could do. Yeah, you can be forgiven. And you did something more than just in a moment in time, because of all the stuff they pulled up on you. Amber Guyger did more than just in one moment in time. They laid it out. That boyfriend that was married, that was a bad enough time right there to break up a family and messing with someone on your job and getting written up at the police station in line on a polygraph to apply for a police officer job. Amber Guyger did many bad things in one moment in time. Many things bad. It was a list of things. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing on TV. And she's getting stroked for killing the man, which makes her feel like she didn't do as much as she didn't do wrong. You haven't done as much. That makes her feel like, oh, I didn't do anything bad. She may get out and kill someone else because she was stroked so much, as if it was okay for her to do what she has done. All the bad that she has done, it makes her feel okay because she was stroked by everyone, including this bailiff that rubbed on her hair. Everybody was hugging her, and I noticed when Judge Kemp was hugging her, she was cold then. She was just only hugging her because of the fact that her butt was on the line. But the way she was holding her and hugging her, she wasn't giving Judge Kemp a wholeheartedly hug. She was stiff and kind of standing crooked, standing back. Just take a look at that picture. You can see what I'm saying. She did not give that judge a wholehearted hug. Not like she did that brother. She did not. And that brother, he was just young and didn't know what he was doing, because he said, I didn't know the cameras were rolling. So that means if he didn't know the cameras were rolling, that means if they were rolling, he probably wouldn't have done it. For him to say that. See, sometimes young people, their minds, they don't know what they're saying. And then he said, I don't want you to get no time. Well, y'all go home. Go back to St. Lucia. If you don't want the girl to get no time, you didn't even have to go to court. You didn't have to go to court. Or if you didn't want her to get no time, you could have said all those things that you said at the end before she got sentenced to 10 years. You see what I'm saying? So this stuff is it's just all a big mad mess. Really it is. And only God will deal with it. Like I said in another video, I said, I hope he don't come back and hunt people, but I know it won't be me. I'm going to end this show, you guys. I just wanted to come with you again and talk about that, the Freedom of Religion Foundation. So what do you think? And President Reagan's son, Jr. was on it. So they really must have thought that it was really pretty doggone bad for them to open up an investigation on Judge Kemp, saying that with her pulling out the Bible and telling the girl, you haven't done as much as you think you have. See, but that is contradicting the law, because that's making her think that she haven't done anything really bad. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so I think when that young boy opened up that can of worms, and that's when the judge, because I saw her tearing on the behind the stand, she was tearing up a lot. And I think she felt for the boy showing the girl love. I don't know. But it seems to me it was all about Amber Guyger. I'm just still a little bit in awe, but I'm just in shock. And then the black juror who got on TV saying Bo would not want her. How in the hell she know what Bo would want? Bo wouldn't want her to walk and burst in his house and shoot him and kill him. Bo wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want nobody to walk in your house and kill you. Just put yourself in Bo's position. And then you would understand how Bo really would feel. But Bo is dead and gone. And people didn't give him the justice that he deserved. They really didn't. Now, Bo probably, like I said, would forgive the girl if he was living. That black juror, that was on TV shaking her head saying I just couldn't believe her, said he would forgive her. He would forgive her if he was living. He would forgive somebody that probably shot him in the leg or something like that by accident, if it was an accident. But to come in deliberately and stand on the top of a red mat this bright and you gonna tell me you can't see this? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think people got hung up in feelings for Amber Guyger because she was a woman, she was a blonde, she was white, she was a police officer. People got hung up, and that black juror got hung up in the crowd, her and all the other people, saying it was an accident. Remorse had nothing to do with murder. It didn't. It really didn't. Because what is that with the bailiff? What was that about? Rubbing the girl's hair. What was all the stroking for? You know, I could see if one person did it or something, but everybody, something is wrong. That wasn't right because it didn't happen to other people. And I understand, and they say sometimes, you know, that's a hard job to being a judge. That really is. And a juror. But if I see that somebody actually walked in somebody else's domain and killed them, and all the evidence, and they had a bad record, bad rap, even with the police department, she was written up. And that boyfriend, that Martin Rivera, when he was on the stand, he said she was in her right mind. Yes, she knew what she was doing. Yes, yes, yes. He didn't put no icing on the cake for her. He didn't. And so why did everybody else? And he was the one messing around with her. He knew she was in her right mind. So what made this black juror and these other people, the judge and everybody, think she wasn't? Well, the judge didn't make the decision. The only thing with the judge was when after the fact, when everybody said what she had whispered to her and gave her that Bible, when other criminals that didn't do what she didn't get a Bible. You know, that's the thing. I'm going to end it with that, you guys. And so I wonder if that guy's wife is going to come up and talk about how she broke up his home or messed up his marriage, or other people that know Amber Guyger are going to come up and talk about her background. And well, they said enough bad things. Her smoking weed, and she was no better than nobody else to be getting all that stroking, and she up there smoking weed and screwing a married man. You know, she was bad. It wasn't in that moment. Oh no. Just I can pull up all the videos and it'll show you she wasn't just bad in one moment in time. She was bad in many moments in time, even messing with a married man on the job. Fell in line on the polygraph test. Racist remarks about black people. And the black juror saying she felt like she was innocent. I gotta go. Talk to y'all later.